They thought the weapon in their hand gave them control, but they underestimated the courage of those they targeted. From teachers to students, these heroes didn't just survive. They fought back and changed everything. These are the stories of school shooters who messed with the wrong person. It was May 25th, 2018, a regular school day at Noblesville West Middle School in Indiana. Students were in their second period classes, noses buried in textbooks and quizzes. In one classroom, Jason Seaman, a former football player turned science teacher, was helping Ella Whistler with a question about her test. The air was calm, the classroom buzzing with quiet concentration, but the peace shattered in an instant. A 13-year-old student known for being friendly and funny had entered the room with a plan that would change everything. Hidden beneath his sweatshirt were 2 handguns and a knife he had brought to school. The day before, he had recorded a chilling video in his basement, revealing his intentions to harm others before taking his own life. He even warned 3 classmates via text not to come to school that day. Yet to his family, everything seemed normal that morning as he prepared for school, talking about an upcoming band concert. The grim reality was hidden in his backpack. Just after 9:06 a.m., the boy returned to the classroom after a brief trip to his locker. As he stepped inside, he pulled out a .22 caliber handgun and fired. The first bullets struck Jason Seaman, who had been standing right next to Ella. Pain shot through Jason, but instead of freezing, his instincts roared to life. He grabbed a small baseball bat, hurling it at the shooter to distract him. The boy flinched, but Jason wasn't done. Despite his injuries, he charged at the shooter, tackling him to the ground and wrestling the gun away. Chaos erupted as Jason yelled for the students to escape. While panic filled the room, Jason's years of athletic training came to the forefront. He was no ordinary teacher. With a background in football, basketball, and track, his physical fitness was unmatched. During his college years at Southern Illinois University, he was a defensive lineman who racked up 88 career tackles and helped his team win multiple conference titles. That strength and agility were now being used to protect his students. Jason's heroic act didn't come without a cost. He was shot 3 times during the confrontation, yet he refused to give up. His courage bought enough time for the police to arrive and arrest the shooter. Ella, who had also been critically injured, was rushed to the hospital alongside Jason. She would survive, though her recovery would be long and challenging. In the aftermath, Jason was hailed as a hero, but in his eyes, he was just doing what needed to be done. He downplayed the accolades, saying he acted out of instinct and care for his students. The community, however, knew the truth. Jason Seaman's bravery had prevented a tragedy from escalating further. Ella's survival and the safety of the other students that day were direct results of Jason's selfless actions. The story of his courage is a testament to the strength of the human spirit, showing that even in the darkest moments, heroes can rise. This next story will leave you even more surprised. On May 17, 2019, an ordinary day at Park Rose High School in Portland, Oregon, turned into a moment of crisis. Angel Granados Diaz, an 18-year-old student struggling with severe depression, brought a shotgun to school with the intent of ending his own life. What could have been a tragedy was averted by the quick thinking and compassion of Coach Keenan Lowe. The situation began when Granados Diaz entered a classroom, revealing the shotgun hidden under his jacket.
Coach Lowe was making sure that the gun didn't go off facing the fleeing students or himself. He used his strength and determination to overpower the student.
Panic ensued as students fled the room. Coach Lowe, who was nearby, didn't hesitate. He rushed in and confronted the armed student. Without concern for his own safety, Lowe grabbed the gun and wrestled it away from Granados Diaz. The struggle was brief but intense. Lowe handed the weapon to another staff member, ensuring the threat was neutralized. What happened next was extraordinary. Rather than reacting with anger or fear, Lowe chose to comfort Granados Diaz. He embraced the distraught student, offering words of understanding and support. This act of kindness diffused the situation completely, showing the power of empathy even in moments of danger. Granados Diaz later revealed that he had not intended to harm anyone but himself. His actions were a cry for help from someone overwhelmed by inner turmoil. Lowe's compassion turned what could have been a devastating event into an opportunity for healing. Granados Diaz was taken into custody, but the focus remained on addressing his mental health struggles. The incident highlighted the importance of mental health awareness and the impact of human connection. Coach Lowe's actions were widely praised, and he became a national symbol of courage and compassion. His decision to see Granados Diaz as a person in pain rather than a threat saved not just lives, but also offered hope for a troubled young man. This was no ordinary story, and it serves as a powerful reminder that heroes are not just those who stop violence, but those who do so with humanity. Coach Lowe's bravery and help turned a potential tragedy into a moment of profound connection and understanding. His actions inspire others to look beyond fear and see the humanity in every individual. If that didn't happen, I can't imagine the hell that man would have let loose. The next instance is at Rigby Middle School in Idaho, where a student opened fire. It was May 6, 2021. At Rigby Middle School in Idaho. The morning started like any other, with students shuffling through the hallways, teachers preparing their lessons, and chatter filling the air. But the ordinary day turned into chaos when an unexpected danger emerged. At 8:55 a.m., a 12-year-old girl wandered the halls, her backpack concealing a semi-automatic pistol. Dressed in black and wearing a surgical mask, she had been seen earlier in the counselor's office, behaving as if it were just another day, but beneath her calm demeanor, a storm was brewing. By 9:05 a.m., the first gunshot echoed through the halls.
Reported until after the shooting. So the post-incident report heavily endorses a free statewide anonymous tip line. This tip line already exists, and the report says schools should be promoting it.
At first, it was mistaken for a construction noise or a prank, but reality struck as more shots followed. Panic erupted. Students and staff scrambled for safety, unsure of where the danger was coming from. Among the victims was Jim Wilson, the school's custodian, who had been cleaning nearby when the shooter fired at him, hitting his leg. Despite his injury, Jim managed to get to the counseling office for first aid.
The shooter was taken into custody. The shooter was a student at the school.
Meanwhile, in a nearby classroom, Krista Knighting, a dedicated math teacher, heard the commotion. Known for her calm and compassionate nature, she instinctively ushered her students to safety. But she didn't stop there. With the hallways in chaos and the sound of gunfire growing louder, Krista stepped out of her classroom, her heart pounding, but her mind focused. She saw the shooter, a young girl whose trembling hands gripped the pistol. Krista didn't flinch. Her face showed neither fear nor anger, only concern. With slow, deliberate steps, she approached the girl, her voice calm and steady. The girl, visibly distressed, seemed frozen, unsure of what to do next.
Police say the shooter arrived on campus about 8:20 that morning and spent time in various areas of the school.
Krista gently placed her hand over the girl's, her movements deliberate and reassuring. The gun was slowly lowered. Krista then did something extraordinary. She hugged the girl. In a moment filled with chaos, she offered compassion instead of confrontation, speaking softly to keep the girl calm until the police arrived. By the time law enforcement took the girl into custody, 3 people, including the custodian and 2 students, had been injured. Thankfully, all had non-life-threatening wounds. Emergency responders arrived quickly, treating the injured and securing the school. In the aftermath, the community grappled with shock and relief. Krista Knighting's bravery became the focus of countless stories. Her ability to disarm the shooter and prevent further violence wasn't just an act of courage. It was a display of humanity in the face of terror. Krista's actions that day didn't just save lives, they left an indelible mark on everyone who heard her story. She reminded the world that sometimes the most powerful weapon against violence isn't force, but empathy and courage. This next instance happened in a school called Seattle Pacific University.
The newly released surveillance video shows the gunman, Aaron Ibarra, holding a double-barreled shotgun.
On June 5, 2014, Seattle Pacific University faced a nightmare when Aaron Ibarra, armed with a shotgun and knife, walked onto campus with deadly intentions. Obsessed with past shootings and struggling with mental health issues, Ibarra opened fire, killing 1 student, Paul Lee, injuring others. But in the midst of this tragedy, an unexpected hero emerged. John Mace, a building monitor, heard the commotion and acted fast. He saw Ibarra trying to reload his shotgun and didn't wait for backup. Armed with just a can of pepper spray, Mace courageously charged at the shooter. He sprayed Ibarra in the face, causing enough confusion to knock him off balance. Then, with sheer determination, Mace tackled Ibarra to the ground. the struggle wasn't over. Ibarra tried to grab his knife, but Mace kicked it away and held him down with all his strength. Other students quickly joined in, helping to secure the shooter until police arrived. Mace's quick thinking and bravery undoubtedly prevented further tragedy.
It's unclear why Aaron Ibarra allegedly targeted Seattle Pacific University. He was not a student there.
When the police finally arrived, they took Ibarra into custody. Though shaken, John Mace remained humble. He deflected attention away from himself, saying the focus should be on the victims. But his heroic actions didn't go unnoticed. The aftermath revealed the deep scars left by the attack. The campus mourned the loss of Paul Lee and rallied around the injured victims.
But never in my wildest dreams would he ever be violent.
Mace's actions became a beacon of hope and a testament to the power of courage under pressure. Mace's bravery was widely recognized, and he was hailed as a hero. However, he continued to stress the importance of remembering those who lost their lives. This event showed how one person's courage can change everything. John Mace's determination and bravery transformed what could have been a devastating massacre into a story of hope and resilience. His actions are a reminder that heroes come in all forms, often stepping up when least expected. This next instance backdates all the way to 1998. It was May 21st, 1998, at Thurston High School in Springfield, Oregon. The day began like any other, with students filling the halls and cafeteria, laughter echoing off the walls. But by the end of the day, the school would be etched into history for a tragedy that tested the courage of one student, Jacob Riker. The chaos started early. Kip Kinkle, a 15-year-old freshman, had been suspended the previous day for possessing a loaded stolen handgun on school grounds. His erratic behavior wasn't new. His parents had sought professional help, but nothing seemed to stabilize him. On May 20th, Kip's turmoil exploded. He fatally shot his father at their kitchen table, and later that day, his mother in the garage. Early the next morning, he loaded up his mother's car with a semi-automatic rifle, 2 pistols, a knife, and 1,000 rounds of ammunition, driving to Thurston High. When he walked into the school, Kip concealed his weapons under a trench coat. Students were surprised to see him after his suspension, but there was no time to question his presence. Kip entered the school cafeteria, where 300 students were gathered.
Because, we're on the front lines, and we're asked as teachers to do more than just teach.
Without warning, he opened fire. The cheerful atmosphere turned into chaos as students screamed and scrambled for cover. Bullets shattered the air, and friends clung to each other, unsure if they'd survive. Amidst the terror, Jacob Riker was watching. A 17-year-old senior, Jacob had a strong sense of duty to protect his peers. When Kip paused to reload, Jacob saw his chance. He rushed at the shooter, his adrenaline surging. The distance between them disappeared in moments as Jacob tackled Kip, wrestling the rifle away. But Kip wasn't finished. He pulled out one of the pistols from his belt and shot Jacob in the chest. The pain was immense, but Jacob's bravery inspired others.
Locked down, and we were sequestered, not really knowing what had actually happened because it was all so surreal. I was 15.
She is now a teacher at North Medford High School.
6 other students jumped in, pinning Kip to the ground. Together, they subdued him until the police arrived. The cafeteria, once filled with laughter, was now silent except for the wails of sirens and the cries of the injured. Kip was arrested, and the immediate threat was over, but the scars of that day would linger. Jacob was rushed to the hospital along with the other victims. Despite his injury, his courageous actions saved countless lives. 2 students, Ben Walker and Mikael Nicolason, tragically lost their lives, and more than 24 others were injured.
At his sentencing, Kinkle's attorneys argued he was mentally ill.
Kip, what do you want to tell your sister?
Prosecutors said he knew exactly what he was doing. In his journal, he described himself.
Kip was later sentenced to 111 years in prison without parole after pleading guilty to multiple counts of murder and attempted murder. The community mourned the loss but rallied around Jacob. His bravery became a symbol of hope in a dark time. Thurston High built a memorial to honor those lost and to remember the courage of those who stood up to evil. Jacob's actions showed that even in moments of unimaginable danger, one person's bravery can inspire many and save lives.
Alec McKinney, the gunman already convicted in the STEM school shooting, testifies against his alleged accomplice from that tragic day.
This next instance, the shooter came with enough ammo that if he opened fire, half of the school would have gone down. On May 7, 2019, at STEM School Highlands Ranch in Colorado, an ordinary school day turned into chaos. Two students, Devin Erickson and Alec McKinney, walked into the school carrying deadly weapons, a Glock 19 pistol and a Winchester 12-gauge shotgun.
Here Alec McKinney is seen on the ground and searched. Several bullets were found.
Their sinister plan was to unleash terror, but what they didn't expect was the incredible bravery of their fellow students. One of the most courageous was Kendrick Castillo, an 18-year-old senior. Without a second thought, Kendrick charged at Erickson, determined to stop him. Tragically, Kendrick lost his life in this heroic act, but his sacrifice wasn't in vain. His bold move gave others the chance to step up and fight back. Brendan Biley and Joshua Jones, Kendrick's classmates, saw what had happened and didn't hesitate to act. Brendan, a strong and determined student, tackled Erickson to the ground, even though the gun was still in the shooter's hand. Joshua joined in, refusing to let fear stop him. During the struggle, Joshua was shot twice, once in the leg and once in the hip, but he didn't back down. Together, they overpowered Erickson, preventing more harm. When the police arrived, they were stunned to see that these brave students had already subdued one of the attackers. The officers quickly took control of the situation. Despite their heroism, Brendan insisted that Kendrick's name should never be forgotten, as his sacrifice made their victory possible. Meanwhile, Alec McKinney, the second attacker, was also stopped before he could cause widespread harm. The swift and fearless actions of these students saved countless lives that day. The aftermath of the shooting left a profound impact on the community. Vigils were held to honor Kendrick's memory, and his parents spoke about his kind heart and selfless spirit. Brendan and Joshua were celebrated as heroes, but they often directed praise back to Kendrick, emphasizing how his sacrifice inspired them to act. Kendrick Castillo's legacy lives on as a symbol of courage and selflessness. His actions remind everyone that even in the darkest moments, extraordinary bravery can shine through. Brendan and Joshua's heroics showed that sometimes ordinary people rise to the occasion to do extraordinary things. These young heroes turned a day of terror into a story that they are going to tell their great-grandkids. Logan walked into the bathroom to Waz, but in turn had to become the Superman of the day. On January 20th, 2017, a quiet morning at West Liberty Salem High School in Ohio was shattered by gunfire. Eli Cerna, a 17-year-old student, entered the school with a shotgun, intending to carry out a deadly attack, but his plan was interrupted by the unexpected bravery of Logan Cole, a 16-year-old student. Logan had walked into the school's bathroom, unaware of the danger inside. He came face to face with Eli, who was armed and ready to strike. Without hesitation, Eli shot Logan twice, hitting him in the chest and back. Despite his injuries, Logan remained calm. Instead of panicking, he spoke to Eli, urging him to stop. His words were simple but powerful, asking Eli to put the gun down and end the violence. To everyone's surprise, Eli listened. He lowered the weapon and slid it under a bathroom stall, halting his planned attack. Logan's courage and composure had diffused a potentially catastrophic situation. Outside, the school was in chaos. Staff and students had heard the gunshots and were scrambling for safety. Principal Greg Johnson and Assistant Principal Andy McGill didn't run from the danger. Instead, they rushed toward it. When they found Eli, they managed to subdue him, ensuring the threat was completely neutralized. Logan was rushed to the hospital, where he underwent surgery for his injuries. Despite his pain, he became a symbol of hope and bravery. His actions, along with those of the school's staff, prevented a tragedy and saved countless lives. Eli, who had been struggling with severe depression, later admitted that he had planned to kill others before turning the gun on himself. While his struggles were heartbreaking, they did not excuse his actions. The aftermath of the incident brought the community together. Logan's recovery was met with widespread support, and his story inspired many. The bravery of Principal Johnson and Assistant Principal McGill was also celebrated. Together, their actions turned what could have been a devastating day into a story of resilience and courage. Logan Cole's experience reminds us that even in moments of unimaginable fear, calm and courage can make all the difference. His willingness to confront danger and speak to someone in pain saved lives and gave his community a reason to hope. Heroes like Logan remind us that bravery isn't about never being scared. It's about feeling the fear and charging straight into it anyway. If you enjoyed these cases, then make sure to watch our next ones shown on screen.